How can a black hole leave its home galaxy? A new study has an answer for that. Astronomers have estimated that 40 million of these space outlaws could be drifting for our galactic neighborhood. And that doesn't sound very neighborly. Let's take a look. Rogue black holes are not your average black holes. While most are content to hang out in the middle of their home galaxies, these guys have been kicked out of their galaxies and are now drifting solo through intergalactic space. They were ejected at extreme speeds of up to 3 million kilometers per second. To put that in perspective, that's about 1/3 the speed of light. These black holes are invisible unless they pass near enough to a star to feed off of it, so most of them are really hard to spot. But even though they're invisible, astronomers have found evidence of their existence. In 2019, for example, astronomers observed a huge explosion that may have been caused by a rogue black hole tearing apart a star in the Milky Way. But how do black holes get thrown out of their galaxies in the first place? It turns out there are two possible explanations. The first is a bit boring, but it's kind of like when you get stuck behind a slow driver on the highway. You just want to go around them, but instead of changing lanes, you're getting pulled in by their gravity. The astronomers call this process dynamical friction. This happens when a big galaxy like the Milky Way plows into a smaller galaxy. Most of the mass of the small galaxy gets added to the big one. But some stars and dark matter, and yes, even black holes, get flung out into intergalactic space. The second way is a lot more dramatic. It's kind of like playing cosmic billiards. It's called the gravitational slingshot effect. Imagine two galaxies with equal and opposite velocities passing close to each other. There's a whole lot of gravitational energy stored up in that system. If the black holes get too close to each other, the gravitational field lines get all twisted up. When they untwist, the energy gets released and the black holes get flung away from each other at high speed. In this case, both black holes escape from their respective galaxies. These two processes usually send black holes wandering off at a speed of about 1% the speed of light. But sometimes the situation is just right for a three-way interaction that sends the black hole flying at 1/3 the speed of light. Here's what happens. Say you have a trio of galaxies in a line with a black hole in the middle. The black hole gets pulled toward the left-hand galaxy. At the same time, the right-hand galaxy gets pulled toward the black hole. If the three objects get close enough, the gravitational field lines get all twisted up again. As they untwist, the black hole gets flung off at high speed while the two galaxies recoil in the opposite direction. If that sounds unlikely, keep in mind that the universe has a whole lot of galaxies and black holes. So even though the odds aren't great for any particular black hole getting ejected at those high speeds, the numbers work out so that there should be quite a few of them around. Unfortunately for those of us living in the Milky Way, it seems that we might have gotten lucky in that we don't have any rogue black holes zooming around our galactic neighborhood. Or maybe we haven't been here long enough to notice. In either case, a new study says that there could be up to 40 million of these interstellar outlaws within 60,000 light years of us. That puts the nearest one potentially only 17 light years away. We won't know for sure until we have data from the Nancy Grace Roman telescope currently under construction. But in the meantime, we can look at some data collected by the Hubble Space Telescope and see what signs there are of these runaway black holes. Hubble can't see the black holes directly, of course, but it can measure how fast stars are moving in space. Some of those stars will be in orbit around a black hole. So measuring their speed allows astronomers to calculate the black hole's mass. Then they can tell whether it is speeding along like a runaway or staying put like a regular old black hole. In a paper published this week in the Astrophysical Journal, a team of astronomers reported the results of just such an analysis of stars near the center of the Milky Way. Their best estimate is that there are between 3 and 4 million of these rogue black holes within 26,000 light years of Earth. Extrapolating that out to 60,000 light years, they estimate the total number of rogues in that range could be up to 40 million. Now, before you start worrying, let's be clear, a rogue black hole passing nearby wouldn't necessarily spell doom and gloom for the solar system. Sure, it would mess up our nice stable orbits, but that would happen gradually over millions of years. Plus, the chance of a rogue black hole passing this close is pretty small. Still, it could cause some problems. For example, a black hole wandering through the outer solar system could strip away some of the gas and dust in the Oort cloud, the hypothesized cloud of icy rocks that surrounds the solar system. It could also fling comets into the inner solar system at much higher than normal rates. And remember that explosion we talked about at the beginning? Yeah, that was probably a comet. If you think that sounds scary, then just wait until you hear what a supermassive black hole can do. In a recent study, astronomers showed that a rogue supermassive black hole could wreak havoc on the Sun and its planets. In fact, it would probably destroy the asteroid belt. So far, astronomers haven't found any evidence of any rogue supermassive black holes, but the idea is still worth worrying about because it is possible that one could form in the future. In our galactic neighborhood, astronomers have calculated that the chances of that happening are pretty small. But it is still possible that a wandering supermassive black hole could pass within 100,000 light years of Earth. If it came that close, the gravitational field of the black hole would disturb the Sun's orbit around the galactic core. And over time, that could push the Earth into an unstable region where it might get flung out of the galaxy altogether. I know that's a lot of hypotheticals, but it's just good to be prepared. And speaking of being prepared, the James Webb Space Telescope is almost here. It lines launch in December and will help us find exoplanets and look back in time to the early days after the Big Bang. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our coverage, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.